Each day in Kansas City, we're working to solve an issue that was not created overnight and will not be solved overnight. But today we're here to talk about potential solutions as we move closer to our goal of becoming a city where everyone has a place to call home. This has been a priority for my administration and during my 9.5 years of service with the city, that we make sure that communities that are experiencing homelessness and the communities that are problem solving with us are here working together to implement effective and compassionate solutions to Kansas City's unhoused crisis. Today we're gathered at Hope Faith, and I want to thank those of you from Hope Faith who do the work here, one of our close partners who helps us provide emergency housing and navigation services for our cold weather system. We are grateful for the work and stability they provide every day in our community and look forward to continuing to work with them as we expand options for permanent low-barrier shelters. Again, permanent low-barrier shelters. This year will mark our 3rd year of cold weather shelters in Kansas City. Those provide 300 beds across multiple locations from December until March. 300 beds, a place for people to stay from December to March, with flexibility to expand during the extremely cold weather. And there will be future expansion. Through the upcoming budget cycle, we're working toward securing funding to keep these shelters open year-round, providing continuous support for our most vulnerable residents. We're also continuing the contracting process with the Department of Housing and Urban Development and 3 operators. Those operators include Hope Faith, where we are today, Care Beyond the Boulevard, and thank you KK for being here with us today from Care Beyond the Boulevard, and Restart right down the street, which we are certain will add necessary space and support for those in need. We also have released Zero KC grants. Zero KC is the name of the program. We have not done zero grants. The Zero KC grant was announced last Friday, and it's a grant program that's aimed at empowering organizations that serve our unhoused communities. These grants will help providers expand their capacity to offer overnight shelter and other essential services, ensuring that absolutely no one falls through the cracks. We hope that those organizations encourage other organizations to apply and to participate so that we can have a full spectrum of services to address homelessness in Kansas City. We invite agencies, nonprofits, and other service providers to apply for these grants regardless of their circumstances so that all can have access to safe and dignified shelter. In particular, we're looking for proposals that aim to do the following: expand specialized services, including having housing for those with mental health needs, substance use disorders, LGBTQ plus individuals, and others with low barrier access requirements. We want to promote innovation in how services are delivered, making it easier for people to access the help they need without unnecessary obstacles. And most importantly, we want to foster collaboration across agencies. It is not one group versus another. It is not one idea or one entity versus another. It is all of us working together to come to solutions. Today, we also want to discuss expanded outreach. We have significantly expanded our outreach efforts, working together with the Kansas City Police Department, and thank you, Major Thompson, Sergeant McCuniff, who are behind me today, to ensure that we can help people not just find permanent housing, but bright futures long term. And we've also seen community and health partnerships. In that, we're trying to develop resources that include toolkits for neighborhood and faith-based organizations to help local communities better understand how they can contribute to efforts to address homelessness. That work is being done in collaboration with the Kansas City Health Department. A few other comments and then I'll get out of the way. If you get nothing out of this, there are a few things I want you to note. We will once again have our winter shelter program to make sure that everyone has somewhere to sleep. We'll start with 300 beds. It will run December to March, but we have an opportunity to expand. We have Zero KC grants that allow groups to work together, importantly, in case they need a chance to find some way to have that extra bit of support so that they can stay open and have resources. And that we are working to collaborate across all agencies. It is not one group versus another. It is all of us working together in every part of Kansas City to make sure we have solutions. 2 brief stories, and I'll get out of the way for Councilman Duncan. Story 1. I was in Madison, Wisconsin this Sunday just for the day, and I had the chance to talk to the mayor of Madison. And she talked about how their shelters are already starting to fill up, how they need to start their programs seemingly even sooner. And she said that all of our local governments need to move beyond what we used to do, which was to rely on the generosity of folks in a church basement to try to come to solutions. We are catching up in Kansas City. But importantly, it cannot be Kansas City, Missouri alone. We need other jurisdictions around this region to be part of this discussion. And that discussion has to be more than a conversation in a boardroom at the Mid-America Regional Council. We need our friends on both sides of the state line on jurisdictions throughout our region to make sure that they step up and that people have a place to go. We are wonderfully happy to be generous, to contribute, but we can't do it alone for all communities. The other conversation I had was this morning. I had the chance to walk around the crossroads, and I'm sorry, Major, I was alone. Dropped off my kids. I know, she's like, man, cute. But dropped off our kids early at daycare. My wife had a meeting at the crossroads. I said, I'm going to walk to City Hall today. Through part of the walk, I stopped at an alley, and I was talking to several gentlemen who were unhoused, one of whom was cleaning a pair of shoes. I said, brother, do you need a pair of shoes, and what size do you need? Those are the sorts of conversations that people who work in this space have every day. A pair of shoes, figuring out how you can get to the doctor, figuring out how you can get some key resource that's holding you back. That's what this city is committed to doing. It may be a pair of shoes for one person, it may be medication for another, but we are making sure that through our collaboration, this is a story about more than just beds, more than just money, more than just one program or another. We are working with human beings, and we're going to treat them like human beings in every part of the human experience.
The mayor touched on it, but I want to put a finer point on it. Houselessness is a policy choice, and the city of Kansas City has made policy choices to alleviate the houseless issues that we have in our city. But as the mayor also said, what do we need from our partners from around the region? One, we need them to step up, yes. I know Johnson County and others have tried to step up, and those issues have failed. But when you look at why did it fail, a lot of it had to do with rhetoric about what it means to be houseless. As the mayor also said, houseless people are people. Houseless people are your neighbors. And when you think about, ask yourself, how close are you to being houseless yourself? How many paychecks can you go without before you run out of options, you run out of couches to surf? What is your network? And then you find yourself in the same position. It's not that hard. It's not that hard to imagine being yourself houseless. And when you put yourself in that position, that rhetoric starts to change. So I think when we think about what we need from our partners, yes, we need them to step up with their treasures, but we also need you to step up the rhetoric to compete with the competing rhetoric that houseless people are undeserving, or that houseless people put themselves in that position, when really, when we think about it, it's a systemic issue, not a personal issue, to be houseless. So what are we doing? As the mayor said, we're creating this shelter so that people can find a place to be warm during the winter, but we have so much more to do. Our steps here with Hope Faith and Care Beyond the Boulevard and Restart are just the first of many steps that we have to make to house people, to take considerable steps when we think about public safety and crime prevention. It makes sure that people have their needs met. Ensuring that we're making policy choices that dignify people in their lives and where they are, and not expecting them to be where we expect them to be. So I'm proud to be here today and stand with the mayor and our partners to say this is just the first of many steps that we will continue to take to address our houseless issue, but it's going to take all of us. It's going to take those in the media to be here today to reiterate the fact that houseless people are people, and Kansas City is taking that step to address their dignity in ways to ensure that we meet them where they are so that they can be where we want them to be. Thank you.
Thank you.